It's an honor to be his grandson. And to come from this legacy which he has created through his blood and sweat work. You know, he's so heavily influenced by Goa. You see it in his work. It's so vivid, and I didn't realize that until I came to Goa. My mother says it's like walking through one of his paintings. They know his contemporaries. They'll know Hussein, they'll know Raza, you know, but they are unfamiliar with Souza. I was invited by the Chelsea FC to paint a huge mural on their stadium. And it was an incredible project, and just as I dived into stories of Goa, I dived into stories of the Holocaust for that. My grandmother, she escaped the Holocaust. Her entire family was killed. She was the only survivor, and she managed to get to London. That's where she met my grandfather, D'souza, who escaped in his own way from India. So I have his name, and then in one hand, and in my other hand, I have my own paintbrush. You know, I have, together, it's unstoppable.
In today's episode of Sun, Sand and Celebrities, we have with us Goa's favorite, Solomon Souza. He is London-born and Israel-based artist, and also Goa's FN Souza's grandson. Thank you for
fame right there.
Thank you for being with us and spending time with us today.
It's a pleasure to be here. It's a beautiful day on Patnam Beach.
So you coming to Goa 100 years of your grandfather. How was the whole event? How was it like?
It's been amazing returning to Goa. It's been almost 5 years since the last time I was here.
Right.
And it's been the feeling that I can liken it to is, you know, when you wake up from an amazing dream, and you wish you could return to the dream, but it's like I woke up back to the same dream, back to that beautiful dream again. So it's been fantastic, and it's a beautiful experience. And we also actually hosted our own birthday party.
Yes, I know. I saw those pictures.
That was lovely. It was very spontaneous. We came just because we wanted to be here. You know, we wanted to be in Saligal for the full circle of Souza's centenary.
Right.
And then we kind of we could say roped into it, but our friends convinced us, said, you know, we should let's do a birthday party, and we did, and it was very spontaneous. It was very kind of last minute, but we had so many amazing people who kind of came together and helped us make it actually happen.
Does it ever happen to you that you are always recognized as FN Souza's son and then an artist? Does that ever bother? His grandson. Yeah, does that ever bother you?
It's an honor. To be his grandson, and to come from this legacy which he has created through his blood and sweat. He did it. You know, he fashioned something through his life. You know, he built something up, and although as with many great artists, unfortunately, he did have a lot of success in his life. You know, but obviously his great success came off when he passed.
Right.
Someone once told me that it's good to have a name to be part. I have Souza's name. I carry my grandfather's name. And yet I have my own accomplishments and my own skill, which I've fashioned myself, to kind of ride upon as well. So I have his name, and then in one hand, and in my other hand, I have my own paintbrush.
Right, of course. And growing up, you have, you've mentioned somewhere that something about a shell and how he helped you, and did you have more memories of him while?
I have many, fleeting memories of him as a very young child. He passed when I was quite young. That memory which you're referencing, you probably, I've definitely mentioned it before in interviews, and it was that's the most poignant memory that I have of my grandfather.
Right.
Where it was after a show, a successful show of his in London. He took out the curators and the gallery owners and maybe some of the people who bought works, I'm not sure, and all the family who had joined the show, including myself. We all went out to a French restaurant where he wined and dined us. And I had a snail on a plate, just like this big snail on a plate. I remember being a little boy, it was like up here.
How old were you then?
I don't remember. I was probably like 7 or something.
Okay.
I remember it sitting there. and there's like a bent fork. I don't know if you've ever eaten a snail. It was the first and last time I've ever eaten a snail. And I tried, I couldn't figure it out. And he was just there cracking up. He was laughing. He laughing at me struggling until he'd had enough, and he just took it and he just cracked it open and said, "Here you go." I feel like that's, I take that with me in my life. Like, he cracked it open and gave it back to me. So here you go. It's ready for you. Eat it.
So you've done the Chelsea's Say No to Anti-Semitism campaign. And how important is that for you as a person, as an artist?
Well, I was very blessed.
Okay.
2 days after I left Goa, I travelled back. The day I travelled back to Tel Aviv, and literally the next day I jumped on a flight back to London, and I was invited by the Chelsea FC to paint a huge mural on their stadium, commemorating football kind of characters: Ron Paul, Arpad Wise, and Julius Hirsch. These three amazing characters, and they were all affected basically by the Holocaust. They ended up in Auschwitz. And it was an incredible project, and just as I dived into stories of Goa, I dived into stories of the Holocaust for that. My grandmother, she escaped the Holocaust. Her entire family was killed in the Holocaust in Prague. And she was the only survivor, and she managed to get to London. That's where she met my grandfather, Souza, who escaped in his own way from India, and that's where they met. I think it's an incredibly important campaign project. You know, I grew up in London. As a young Jew boy, you could say, I grew up in London. I experienced a lot of anti-Semitism, a lot. Verbal, physical.
Really?
Yes, a lot.
Oh.
I only realized how much so later on in life when I look back at it, and I'm like, a young child should not be experiencing those things just because of you know, of who we were born as, or whatever. You know, it was very crazy.
Okay.
I remember the first, you know, my mother, she kind of, it's something called Khazeret B'tshuva.
Okay.
She kind of, her mother never really spoke about her Judaism, she knew she was a Jew, but she didn't really know what that meant. She kind of shied away from it. It cost her family, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
So then when my grandmother passed away, my mother started looking more into it. I was like, who is that? What's that side of my family that I never really knew? And so she was very engaged by that. And she returned, and we actually moved to a more religious, you could say, Orthodox, observant community in London, because I grew up in Hackney Wick, which is the old East End, which is the old Jewish community, but there's no Jews left there anymore. And they moved a bit more west. And there, I remember the first week that I put on, you know, the skull cap, the yarmulke, the head covering. I got chased and slapped in the street.
Oh dear.
Yeah, just for wearing it. Anyway, that's
a traumatizing experience.
And there's a lot. That's just like the first week. So I realized that when I gain this opportunity to kind of do something official, you could say, with such a grounded organization, such as the Chelsea Foundation, I was really honoured, and I felt it was definitely a very important thing, and I wanted to be a part of it for sure.
Right. And after going through so much, I mean, I'm sure it all kind of, you know, you put down your heart into all that, into the art.
Sure. We did two projects actually. The second one was a project called 49 Flames, where we made a book on 49 Olympic athletes. They weren't all Jewish, but there were 49 Olympic athletes who were murdered by the Nazis in the Holocaust. And that was terrible to learn about. Like, these are like, you know, I think about Olympic champions, you know,
and
like the stars of the, you know, and then, but they all,
it didn't matter actually.
It didn't matter in the end. It didn't matter. It didn't say anything. It didn't matter. It was irrelevant.
No, and the same thing. I mean, you're experiencing this, and then you're experiencing even the Gaza-Israel war that's going on. I mean, that's equally bad for you, right? As an artist,
Listen,
I mean,
it's a terrible situation. Just thinking about it, it's very heartbreaking.
Did you?
It's terrible. I'm Israeli. I'm sorry.
Yes.
I have many friends who were killed on the start of this current round in this conflict. I have many friends who were killed and kidnapped. I also have many friends who are Gazan and in Gaza, So I'm kind of like stuck in the middle once again. I feel like I'm stuck on the fence. I'm not stuck on the fence. I like to, you know, I said at the beginning that it's like a dream, right? Being here.
Yeah.
And so I'm halfway across the world. It's just over there.
Right.
And I'm halfway across the world in this beautiful dream, and yet there's this kind of nagging nightmare that's happening over there to people that I love. You know, it's like, you know, I pray every day that we'll wake up from that nightmare, and then we'll have the peace that we need.
And you've lost a lot of your friends from...
I lost a few friends, yes. I lost 3 friends on that day. And one of my dear friends, Inbal Hyman, she was actually kidnapped from there was a few different things that happened that day. There was a party, and she was kidnapped from this party. And I met her actually here in Goa 5 years ago, up the coast in Arambol.
Okay.
There's tons of Israelis up there.
Yes.
And I met her there, and she's an amazing. She's a graffiti artist.
Okay.
And we did tons of painting and everything, and she's amazing soul, full of life. Right. And she was kidnapped and she was killed. And
so there's no news of...
No, she's dead. They found her body.
Oh.
Thank you. Yeah, I try. I need to. You know, there's enough sadness and heartbreak in the world.
Yes.
And although I do make work around it, it's not very. It's not. I don't make it for anyone to see, really. You know, a lot of. You know, we will have a lot of turmoil within us, I think.
Yeah.
And we will have outlets as well. So my outlet for getting out, whatever it is through my art.
And so many artists have come out of Goan soil, but somehow, you know, they've never been recognized for the work. It's only, you know, you say only the artists who pass away get recognized. But what about the other ones who are really doing so much?
Sure.
Do you see, you know, the change gradually taking place?
I mean, isn't it? It's a shame that sometimes we have to wait till someone passes away, and they're no longer with us for us to appreciate them.
Right.
You know, it's nice. Some people don't want the appreciation in their lifetimes, and I've met people like that, like Libia Lobo Sardesai.
Yeah. Yes.
So she doesn't. She's an amazing character.
Yeah.
And she has been appreciated, but no, she could be more so. And hopefully we'll be painting her very, very soon.
No, really?
Yes, opposite her balcony.
Oh.
Yeah, it's, you know, there's so many people doing so many amazing things.
Yeah.
And we should always appreciate people who put in lots of hard work, especially for the greater good, for the greater community.
Correct.
You know, definitely, of course, it should be encouraged as well. You know.
And I think somewhere down the line, if we do something like this, at some point people will, you know, the younger generation will know who these people are. You know, I mean, the murals that you've done, I mean, they have at one point people have asked who this person is.
Sure.
And you know, maybe searched online. I mean, getting information now, I think is you know, it's
sure,
just
that was what we wanted. We wanted to engage people's imagination and curiosity,
right,
as to why did we choose to paint them on the wall and to look into them, and then discover more about them, and you know, to spark something in the youth,
right.
And to give them opportunity to imagine something for their own future.
Of course.
But it's funny because even, you know, my grandfather, you know, he's a jewel of Goa.
Yeah.
You know, he's a treasure from Goa, and yet I speak to so many young Goans, and they know his contemporaries. They'll know Hussein, they'll know Raza, you know, but they are unfamiliar with Souza. A lot do know, but generally those who are kind of, you know, in art education or something like that, you know. But he also, it's hopefully the work that we're going to be doing here over this next year will shed some more light on him and many other untold stories. All
right. Anyways, Solomon, thank you
very much.
Thank you so much. Dio Bore Koru, wow, Konkani lines and one-liners. So you have a few of those?
I have a few, yes.
Yeah.
I'm adding more every day.
Oh, really?
I'll be fluent before you know it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.